Each of us has our own unique background and story of how we became a part of Chiefs Kingdom.
Our reach is far and wide with fans all over the world cheering on our Kansas City Chiefs.
Everyone donning the red and gold has figuratively signed that mutual agreement and come together for one common purpose.
For 76,000 of us at a time, to descend upon Arrowhead, man our stations, let out our loudest battle cry to the tune of 142.2 decibels, and make that stadium rock until our opponents beg for mercy.
We are unrelenting in our pride for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the Allies, Arrowhead Allies.
And welcome to Arrowhead Allies. Big special guest here this week, guys. Let's get right to it. I don't want him to feel too outnumbered here. He is amongst friends. Richmond Webb, legendary former left tackle from the Miami Dolphins, is in here with us. Again, you can feel safe. This is a safe place, Richmond. Don't feel outnumbered here. The game's already over anyway, man. There's no more trash to talk. It's all good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. You know, it's been a while since I've been on with you guys, man. Happy to be here. And, you know, we formed a relationship years back. So when Noah hit me up and asked would I come on, I'm happy to because I had a chance to fellowship with you guys. So I'm doing good. I don't have no complaints. How y'all doing?
Great.
Yeah, it's coming off this game here. Let's get right into it, Richmond, because kind of a different game than a lot of people expected. The Chiefs were a slight favorite going in, but I don't think anybody saw, four combined touchdowns by the two offenses coming in here. The Chiefs wind up winning 21-14. The Dolphins on a fourth down wind up turning the ball over on downs late as a errant snap, and maybe Tua was kind of took his eyes off the ball, led to the ball getting out, and that being kind of the end of the game. So just looking back on the game, the Chiefs getting the win, getting to now 7-2, Dolphins fall to 6-3. Where do you see the Dolphins after this? Because our own Michael Matthew last week did bring up, he's like, hey, the Dolphins schedule, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, but you know, they had losses to the Eagles, to the Bills, and now the Chiefs. So those are the three best teams on the schedule. Where do you see this Dolphins team, Richmond, kind of coming after this loss in Germany?
Yeah, I went back and kind of went over the stats of the game. And, if you look at it, it was pretty evenly, played game. You look at the stats as far as rushing, passing, the numbers are real close. And, you take away the turnover, the fumble recovery for a touchdown, and, possibly this game goes into overtime, but I know y'all don't want to take that away. But I think, sometimes when you lose a game like this, we have tremendous respect for the Chiefs. They've consistently been one of the teams at the top in the AFC, and that's kind of where the road to the Super Bowl has been leading the past few years. So I think once they go watch the film and match up, I think there's some things that we could have done better, not made a mistake. And you have a chance to possibly say, we can play with these guys. So, it was mid-season, and I think everybody's kind of stuff like that. But to see how you match up against them, we got a bye this week. And then, like you said, we got 4 of the last 5 at home. And then, put yourself in positions where you possibly can try to have at least one home game, in the playoffs. I think that's always key, is the home field advantage or trying to get there, but at least trying to do that. But I think it gave them some confidence to the point, like, if we can minimize some mistakes, that we can play with some of the better teams in the AFC. And I know a lot of the analysts focus on where they hadn't beat any teams with winning records and this and that. That is true if you look at it that way, but I look at it and I know from experience, you can get beat any given Sunday. If a team gets up for you and you don't play your best, you can get beat by anybody. So I think they'll approach it the rest of the way and just stay focused and try to get back on track.
Hey, Richmond, thank you for joining the show. One thing that I was concerned about going into the game was Tyreek Hill, of course, but Raheem Mostert. I feel like he is one of the most underrated backs in the league in the past several years. I know injuries have really, bothered him, But with that aside, they got the running game going in the fourth quarter. Miami did, and they scored actually on Mostert running a toss to the left. But the Chiefs, for the most part, contained Mostert in that running game that the Dolphins have throughout most of that game up until the fourth quarter, especially on those like crackback like blocks and sweeps and tosses that the Dolphins like to run during the game. What was your thoughts with the Miami running game and the Chiefs defense and that matchup in that game versus the Dolphins and Chiefs?
Well, like I said, I thought it was a good matchup. I think the thing that a lot of people mislook about the Kansas City Chiefs is their offense has been so dynamic for so long that I think this year the defense is much improved and a lot better. But most people still focus on Patrick Mahomes. You know, he's electric. I mean, he's just entertaining to watch, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So you got to pay attention to the Chiefs defense. They've made some, acquisitions on defense. Of course, Mr. Jones, that leads that front four up there, he's a dog. But I knew this would be a game you just come in and just be able to run through a team, this and that. But like you said, up until like the fourth quarter, I think most finally got some momentum going, and we kind of had the momentum going. But I think that third down, we had the ball looked like it slipped out of Tua's hand, and then the fourth down, it was a bad snap or something, and the game was over. But I think it was, we were heading to possibly have a chance to score. So that doesn't surprise me. I look at both sides of the ball in this net, but the Chiefs defense is much improved, and that's only going to help them when the playoffs come along.
Richmond, you're a legend. I can't thank you enough for spending this time with us this evening. You got to protect Dan Marino. You were his blind side. You protected him for 11 seasons, 11 seasons from 1990 through 2000. Okay, Marino was there till 99, so 10 if we're counting. Just making sure my math's correct.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's man math.
Yes. Even though you got to protect Dan Marino and watch him through 10 seasons, looking at Tua from afar and watching him closely, what does he have to do besides stay healthy? What does Tua have to do to grow to become a high caliber NFL quarterback up with the Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen's and Burrows? What does he have to do, Richmond?
Well, I mean, if you look at Tua, even last year before he got hurt, he had the concussion issues, but he's a different quarterback. Marino, he's left-handed. He's a more mobile quarterback. Dan was a pure passer. He wasn't as mobile, but he could just sling the football. But I think Tua has established as one of the up and coming quarterback. And if you look at the time that he takes to go through his progressions, this and that, I mean, and he's pretty accurate when he throws the football. So I think he has the confidence. I think he has everything. It's just putting it together on a consistent basis. And, like you say, winning some of these games that we didn't win. But I mean, if you look at him, he I think other than a game or two, he's played pretty well. So I think he's knocking on that door. And I think if as other quarterbacks in the league that playing with him now, they would probably consider him one of the top guys, up and coming guys in the league right now.
Hey, so Richmond, man, just question. Everybody's going to talk about the offense, and we know the offense is very dynamite with Waddle, with Hill, with Mostert. But the defense, like I think we were able to see some things defensively with a healthy Ramsey, with Xavier Howard there. Like, what is people talking over there about the Dolphins when it comes to that defense? Because I believe for that defense, it needs to step up. Like, we know the offense can score, but eventually they're going to get slowed down. And it has to be able to stop a team like Buffalo, like the Eagles, like the Ravens, and teams that they're going to face coming up. What are the thoughts on the defense with the returning players so far?
I think that's one of the biggest things people really hadn't paid attention to. Xavier Howard's been beat up. We just got Jalen Ramsey back. And I think the thing that people look at is even when we lost to the Eagles, we didn't have either one of our starting quarterbacks. And I'm not making excuses, but we all know you don't have guys that typically start. Your backups are not as good. We had guys that normally play over the slot, got to go out and put a guy out wide, this and that. So I think we take that into consideration. Everybody else don't. Like you say, people say, "Oh, you're just making excuses, this and that, blah blah blah." And even like the Eagles, I tell people it's one of the best teams in the NFC, and you got to be able to come out and win some of those games. But I do agree with you. It doesn't matter what the offense is, and you've even seen it with, I think, San Francisco this year. They were really doing good, and then their offense kind of got slowed down, and they've lost a couple of games. But it's never going to just be one side where the offense is going to win all the games. I don't care how prolific or whatever that is. Somebody's going to shut you down at the end of the point, and you got to have that the other side of the ball every now and then step up to kind of bail you out. And so, like I said, we're starting to get some guys back. We had, our cornerback speed up. Offense line, we had, 2 or 3 guys out at one time. So we're starting to come together. We get a bye week this week, and then I think we get H.N., our other running back. He was making a lot of big plays for us. So I think we're kind of getting healthy and coming together at the right time. And long as we kind of maintain and stay healthy and stay focused, I think we'll have a pretty good shot the second half of the season.
Yeah, Richmond is an all 90s decade team member. Just talk about that offensive line. I mean, Isaiah Wynn was out, Rob Hunt was out, and then you had Robert Jones in there, and he goes out. Talk about just kind of how big of a factor you thought that was against a formidable Chiefs defensive front.
Yeah, it's always we got Connor Williams back, we got Teron Armstead back, which was good, especially when you playing a team, like the Chiefs and that. But we got a couple of those guys back. It was their first game back, and I think they did okay. I think the Chiefs did, like I just said earlier, they did a good job of kind of slowing our running game down. But that's going to happen when you play one of the top teams. But you got to go and make adjustments. It's a chess match. You're not just going to blow through everybody. If you go into every game like that, you're not being realistic, especially when you play some of the top teams in your conference or whatever. So, like I said, it's good for me. I think it's good to meet some of those teams early, because if you make the playoffs, it's a highly probability that you're going to have to see those teams again, and then you can say, okay, some of the stuff that we did the first time, maybe we can make some adjustments and try to, execute, not make the mistakes, and do it better. So hopefully, if we keep playing the way we'll get another shot. So, I mean, that's all you can ask for at the end of the day. You want to just put your best effort forward. And I think those guys will be looking forward to it.
Richmond, I've got to admit, I'm an unabashed fan of the 90s. That's when I grew up watching the Chiefs. And at that time, the Dolphins were just a huge bugaboo for this franchise, trying to go to win in Miami in 93. Forget the 91 playoff game, and then trying to go with getting beat 30-10 in 93, losing on Monday Night Football 45-28 in 1994, losing in the playoffs in December of 94, and then on Monday Night Football again in 95. What was it about those teams that had such success? I mean, in 1994 on Monday Night Football, you guys scored 45 points against that vaunted Chiefs defense. You were a part of those offensive lines and those great offenses with Dan Marino, and just really players that stand out to me just as a kid watching football, like Bernie Parmalee, O.J. McDuffie, Mark Duper, Mark Clayton, so many memorable Dolphins teams. Just talk about what it was like playing the Chiefs and why you guys were able to always have so much success against us.
Well, I guess one of the reasons we played most of them at home. You didn't bring up the one where we had to come to Kansas City after that. Y'all had the Nigerian Nightmare, Barry Work. Y'all had like 2 or 3 huge running backs. And then you had Neil Smith, you had Derek Thomas, which I got to know both of those guys very well, playing in the pro with them. And, that's the last thing you wanted was 58 lining up on the outside with that crowd noise in Arrowhead Stadium. And you got all these tomahawks you looking up in the stands. It was just, I'm glad y'all came to Miami more than we came up there. But, no, just because we won, it didn't mean that we didn't respect the Chiefs. You know, that was all one of those teams that were always in the run for the playoffs. And I can't remember. I think it was early 90s. The Chiefs went like 13-3.
Yeah, 95.
Yeah. And so Willie Rofe was one of my good friends. He was, I saw Will Shields at the Hall of Fame. I was up there for Zach's induction. So, yeah, just a lot of great players, a lot of good friends from that era. You bring it up, you making me reminisce. So the easy answer is because y'all came to us and we didn't always have to come to y'all. So
I knew it.
Y'all talk to Paul Tagliabue or whoever set the schedule up. I ain't had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, we could never win in Florida. That goes for like the Buccaneers and the Jaguars. We beat the Buccaneers in '93, but that was one of few Florida wins that we got in the '90s and 2000s. So, look, speaking of the '90s, Dolphins had some pretty good uniforms in the '90s.
Yes,
especially when they broke out with the aqua pants. Oh yeah. Really love those. As Dolphins switched in what, 97? They went to they put the little dark blue hints and they fattened up the Dolphin. The Dolphin didn't look as mean. It looked kind of Disneylandish. But look, one thing that annoys me about Miami Dolphins, Richmond Webb, is these damn uniforms. Y'all could be so much better with these uniforms, man. Okay, like the ones y'all have now, it ain't cutting it, man. Y'all look so much better when you wear the 70s Dolphins. I would say go to the Dan Marino Dolphins, man. Bring the aqua face mask out. Just give me your raw thoughts about these damn uniforms y'all got and why they look so Mickey Mouse-ish.
Well, I mean, I didn't have any part in designing the uniforms, but you know, the case that you're making, you know, a lot of old Dolphins, they like the throwbacks. When we wear the throwbacks, it really seemed like the fan base really gets excited, this and that. So I'm sure some people like the new uniforms, but by and large, most people interact with me on Twitter and stuff like that. They always like the old school. They be like, Richmond, get up, do this, that. And I'm like, bro, I ain't got no control over that. You know, you got to talk.
Are you jealous? Are you jealous of like the freedom of like the uniforms now? Because y'all used to get fined like $20,000 for having the wrong socks and all this other stuff. But these guys these days, they get to, you know, they have influence over what uniforms they have. They got influence that they want to wear all white or all aqua or whatever. Are you kind of like salty about like Paul Tagliabue didn't loosen the grips up on the uniforms back in the day?
I'm not salty, but you know, the same thing happened in the NBA.
Oh, they look good right there.
You know, yeah, that's old school. That's even before me. That's the
70s Dolphins. That's the undefeated Dolphins swag right there.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely need to wear them all the time if that's the case. But it's just a different league now. Even in college, man, you know, everybody's got different uniforms. Wear 2 or 3 helmets. I guess, you know, the ain't enough. Everybody got to be, you know, switching up uniforms and stuff. But I'm old school. I'm like you, Brian. I like the old school stuff. I wish you could go back to that. But
hey, Richmond,
it's a change. So yeah.
Go ahead. You went up against Neil Smith and Derek Thomas 5 or 6 times. Go ahead and give us a Neil Smith or Derek Thomas moment. What game? Or if you can't even remember the game, just tell us, what do you remember about going up against Neil Smith and Derek Thomas?
You see all this gray hair in my head? Those 2 guys are responsible for a lot of that. But no, just the ultimate competitors. I think the thing with Derek Thomas that I probably went against Derek more than I did Neil because he was on the opposite side. But you know, Derek's had that first step. Always respected their games, but you knew when you played those guys, you know, Neil and Derek, that was Kansas City, and they loved Kansas City. You know, they really bought it. It was different back then where guys kind of switched teams. Now you almost stay with the team, you know, pretty much your whole. I know Neil left maybe contract. I left, you know, contract, couldn't get it worked out, but to spend the majority of your career at a team and then at a franchise like that do it the right way. I think that's important. So really good guys.
So we got to talk about Tyreek Hill.
Cheetahs to Hill.
The former Chief, and Noah's probably gonna like this, but of course, as Chiefs fans, miss Tyreek Hill, everything that he brings, to the field and things like that. Can you just talk about the swag and the culture he has kind of brought to this team? He has his podcast. He's always talking. Miami hasn't had a voice or the attention on them like that since maybe Dan Marino. So can you tell me the type of culture he is bringing over that he was able to learn here from the Chiefs? And he said it, that it's the new rivalry. Do you see this being an actual rivalry, Chiefs, Dolphins, Tyreek Hill versus his old squad?
I think it'll always be a rivalry for Tyreek. And, when you spent that time at a franchise like that, won Super Bowls, went to war with those guys, I know it's a contract situation. They couldn't get it worked out, but if he could have, I know he would have wanted to stay in Kansas City. It's just like me in Miami. So, but the thing I am appreciative of is, us going out and signing that guy. Haven't met him personally, but, from everything I hear, he's the hardest worker on the team. He don't take plays off in practice. He challenges the other receivers to match his intensity. So he's brought that dog mentality to work. And I know like Jalen Waller is probably our number 2 receiver, but he'll tell him, hey, I want you to be better than me, but I'm just get to you. You gonna work, and you see how I work. You can't do nothing but respect the guy, especially you don't see that type of attitude. I'm not saying receivers don't work hard, but man, they say this dude here is a man child out there, the way he approaches practice and stuff like that. And he's not afraid to, like you say, he got his podcast. He gonna say, and he backs up what he's, if he go, you got to deal with a monster, no matter who we play. And I think him and what's the linebacker from the Cowboys? Oh, Michael Parsons. They had a little back and forth going. So he just. Man, that's Cheetah. He's got the perfect name, but he ain't gonna back down. He don't care if you 5'8" or 2. If you want it, you just got to whoop that dude. And I love his attitude. I love the toughness and intensity, the way he approaches the game, and he expects to win every time he goes out on the field. And I think that has trickled down throughout the team. So he was a great addition. He was great for us to get him. I'm happy we definitely got him.
If you ever get tired of him and want to send him back, we'll be more than happy to find a spot on the roster, find some money, cut some players. Jawan Taylor.
No, I heard y'all don't want him no more. No, that's the word going on.
Some of these people don't want him. James T. Kirk here in the comments doesn't want Tyreek Hill. Brian shaking his head. I don't know if he wants Tyreek Hill.
At the right price.
You know what they do want him back, and I get it. Sometimes fans take it personal, but it's a business, man. And like I said, if they could have worked the thing out, Tyreek would have wanted to finish his whole career. But sometimes the business get away, and you can't take it personal. And it's just like you've played with those guys, so I know he still got a lot of friends, and he got a lot of respect for guys on Kansas City, but the business side gets of it anyway. And I think sometimes fans don't understand that. But yeah, if trust me, like you said, Noah, if y'all could have him back, y'all would take him back with a heartbeat. This is just, he's that type of player. So I read the comments, but I'd be like, come on, bro, stop that. Yeah.
I think maybe Clint and I talk about this. Maybe it's a defense mechanism. Our offense is so pathetic and anemic right now that people are just like, no, we're fine without Tyreek Hill. I don't need him. We don't have him. Everything's fine, right? We're fine here.
It's way easier to sleep at night, I think, for those people when
I don't get much sleep over here.
Right?
Richmond.
No. I don't need. I got to throw this up. I don't even have a question prepared. We just got to take this in for a second. This is Richmond in the element with the great uniform. There it is.
Wow,
Brian, just feast your eyes on that, Brian.
Yeah, man. All right. So look at the face mask matching the pants, dog. Like, and it's not like the socks aren't matching the pants, so we got some contrast there. And the socks, the striping match match the numbers, man. It's just look, man, it's a beautiful uniform. They have got to bring those back instead of those Arena Football League uniform, not the illustrious AFL that the Chiefs come from. But yeah, man, they got to go back to that, man.
Look at that. Look at that. We got a sexy man in a sexy uniform right there. Richmond Webb, 78.
Big balls.
Yeah, and those pants are slimming. Dude, Richmond, those pants make you look skinny right there.
No, y'all got to be talking about Bobby Humphrey, number 44 in the backfield. I know you're talking about.
Oh, he's a great player, yeah.
Yeah. but you know what? When we played, if your socks, like the stripes had to be a certain level, it was, man, they were so meticulous about the things, and they would fine you and this and that. And then it was normally like the receivers or the DBs would normally get the fines because they can take a uniform and make it look, flawless. You get a receiver or you get a defensive back, and they know how to hook it up and this and that. But sometimes they would push limits on that. And then the thing with the NFL back then was we always had a guy on our staff, and the referee would give him a list and say, this guy needs to put socks, this guy is so-and-so is too high, blah, blah. And you would go by and warn them before the game, because some guys would take a chance. And then on Mondays, you get the Fed package from the league office. You've been fined for a uniform violation. So
I'm pretty sure our very own Ricky Sigler used to work for the league. And do you remember Ricky Sigler, the guard for the Chiefs? He used to do that. He used to work for the league and do some of the uniform. I don't know where I want that job. I don't know how you even get that job. I want to be a uniform violation guy.
I don't know either. Yeah.
That's my dream job right there.
Richmond, I got to ask you about Dan Marino. I mean, so much time has passed since he was in the league, and I mean, people just are with the now. They don't want to go back and look at the old, and they kind of disparage the old quarterbacks. There's a lot of hate going around about John Elway's numbers as compared to today, Troy Aikman's numbers as compared to today. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. You see Patrick Mahomes breaking all these records. Whose records is he breaking? Who's in number 2? Who's he surpassing? Dan Marino. And he did it in an era where DBs were mugging receivers all the way down the field. The rules weren't geared towards the offense. So just for our younger viewers out there, throw a little respect and kind of teach them about the greatness that was Dan Marino.
Well, and I mentioned it before, and you guys probably already know, but we were one of the few teams that football a lot back then. But if you think about the Kansas City Chiefs, New York Giants, Cowboys, it was a run-dominant football team back then. And that's why you see the receivers are probably more valued now versus the running backs, because I seen it was Saquon Barkley, there was a couple of running backs, and they don't want to pay the running backs. But before, the running backs used to get, they didn't want to pay the receivers. But the game has changed. It's more spread offense, 3 wide receivers, and you're throwing the ball now. So you see these numbers, and then a lot of time when you just don't see a guy play, you'll always say, "Nah, that was back then. You don't know this and that." It's like people watch LeBron James play, but they hadn't seen Michael Jordan play. But if you could go back and see, it was a different league. It was a lot more physical. In basketball, it was a lot more physical when we played. Like you said, y'all had like Albert Lewis, Cherry, Dale Carter. I mean, passing dogs out on the corner. So you was going to earn it. They weren't going to give it to you. And you could just jam a guy and run him in the sideline, or if it came to the middle and they didn't catch it, they was going to get hit anyway. And they was trying to knock a guy out. And a lot of times those type of plays will be momentum swings, but you can't play that way anymore. So some of the young people, they just don't understand. So I'll listen to them, but I'm not going to argue with them. But I'll just try to tell them. But yeah, it was a different league back then.
I'll argue with them for you, Richmond. Don't worry.
Hey, so
Richmond, I was gonna ask, with Tua being a lefty, Tua Tagovailoa is a left-handed quarterback. Let's say you're a high-priced veteran left tackle who's due a big monster contract, and you're the left tackle. You have been protecting the blindside quarterback of a right-handed quarterback. But then your franchise quarterback, who they're going to thrust into position to be the quarterback, but you're the left tackle that's up for left tackle money. How would you or your agents handle that if they tried to say, well, you're not going to protect the quarterback's blindside now because he is a lefty? How would that work in your favor, and how would that go about if you were a left tackle coming up to get a big contract?
Yeah, I think if you're a left tackle and you've already proven you're one of the top guys in the league at that position, I think that's not going to be a too hard of an argument that they're going to push back on. But if you're a guy you might have had maybe one good year and you're looking to switch teams to come there, they might say, well, yeah, you're left tackle, but we need you to play right tackle because our quarterback's left-handed and that's his blind side. And at that point, you got to say, okay, do I want to switch or do I want to stay there? And I think even if you stay on the left side, you're still going to get your money. So the thing is, I say y'all need to go step your game up on the right because I'm staying on the left. I've been over there too long, and I don't want to try to make that switch. So, yeah. I think we could work it out, especially if you wanted to top it at your position in the game. So, because they're gonna still need you. But yeah, that's how I approach it.
Well,
so, hey, Richmond, before you get, before we you get out of here, I have a question. The Chiefs have a matchup against the Eagles Monday from now. You being offensive lineman, what's your thoughts on the tush push? And do you think it's a legal play? Would you like to be a lineman that had a chance to be a part of a play like this? Because once I heard the coach say we always look at first down as 1st and 9 because of that play, I'm kind of like, wait a minute, that's a little crazy to hear that. So, what's your thoughts on that play from the Eagles, and do you think it's going to stick around?
I think it's going to stick around. I don't think they're doing anything dirty, like diving ass or something to hurt a D lineman. They've just perfected a way to submarine and Jalen Hurts in between Kelsey and the guard, and they just wedge their way and go up on there, and then the guys behind them push them. And I'm sure they probably win 90% of the time, if not higher. I mean, they did it against us. I just watched them the other night. The Cowboys did the same thing. So the only advice I can say is try to get them to at least 4th and 3, 4th and 4, and they might punt. But if it's 4th and 2 or whatever, no matter where it is on the field, they're gonna get in that formation. And I'm just in awe because I've watched it and I was like, how in the hell do they keep doing this? Because, normally sometimes the defense wins, but they predicted it where they're like, okay, we're going to get the first down and keeps going. So I don't know who came up with it, how they figured it out, but it's a hell of a way. And, it's a copycat league. So eventually you might start seeing other teams do it. That's what I think.
Richmond, we can't thank you enough, my friend. Just what a wonderful career it was. You made the Dolphins all-decade team of the 90s. One of my favorite linemen of all time. Just watching you from afar, man. It's just been a pleasure to get to know you. And it's been 5 years since we've seen you. We got to change that around. You got to get up to Kansas City. We'll get some barbecue. If the Dolphins ever come to Kansas City, it's so rare in this world that the Dolphins ever play here. Maybe one of these days. Next year, both
they're supposed to, and they send them to Germany.
Exactly.
They could play in January.
There you go.
I know Tyreek was looking forward to coming home, but yeah, we went to Germany. But hey, thanks for having me on the show, and y'all really treated me kindly. Y'all didn't beat me up too bad. And,
Never.
In the uniforms.
Now we about to beat up Noah.
We can do it again.
No. All right, Richmond. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Y'all have a good one. Thank you very much.
Absolute honor, my friend. Thank you.
That was cool.
That was Richmond Webb,
Good guy.
one of the great left tackles of the 90s, guys, and a team that the Chiefs just, man, it was a disaster trying to go out there and play in Miami in 93, 94 twice, including the playoffs, and in 95. And we had to go back and look. Dan Marino only played one game, Shane, in his career in Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium.
Two.
89 and 91?
Yes, December of 89 and October of 91. I was at both games.
How about that?
So Marino never really got in the bite.
Right.
Like the bite of Arrowhead is
Exactly.
like 93 to like
face a
90,
good
97.
He got bit pretty hard. He got bit pretty hard in that October game where he lost 42-7. Chris Martin had a 100-yard fumble return for a touchdown, and 78,000 of us were losing our minds with excitement. Freaking booing and hissing and screaming at Dan Marino. He
I
got
love a
the
good hiss.
I want to hiss at somebody.
So he
I mean,
was looking like Brian Cook out there. That's what you're saying.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's do this real quick with Shane, because none of us were around in '83 for that draft.
Yes.
So the Chiefs take Todd Blackledge.
Yep, Todd.
And they pass on Marino.
Oops.
And it'll come back to haunt us for a number of years. What was, like Chiefs Kingdom wasn't a thing back then, but for Chiefs fans, what was the thought when that happened?
We were excited about Todd Blackledge because he won at Penn State. But if you remember, at that time in April of 1983, there was a new head coach that came into town, John Malkovich. He was the Cowboys quarterback coach. So we were going to be a more explosive passing offense. And we still had, for another,
don't want Dan Marino for that.
We still had Joe Delaney. So in April of 1983, it was going to be a passing offense with Bill Kenny, who's going to mentor and tutor Todd Blackledge for his first year. And that was the plan. So we were excited. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of great. I was 13. There was a whole bunch of great quarterbacks up and down the lot. You know, of course, Elway was drafted first, but he went play baseball for the Yankees because he didn't want to go to the Baltimore Colts. So we were glad we didn't get involved in that mess at that time. You're asking me at that time, April 1983. That's what I'm talking about. So we had John Malkovich, new passing offense with Joe Delaney, who was going to be our running back. God, it help him. God bless us all. He went and 3 or 4 months later tried to save some kids' lives. And, the Chiefs lost their best running back, not only best running back on the team, but probably one of the best running backs in the NFL at that time. So we were able to at least hope that the sky was bright under Todd Blackledge. And in 1984, Todd Blackledge's second year in the NFL, he won his first 2 games on the road. So it looked like, hey, this looks like the guy. Then they lost a hard-fought game against the Raiders. Then they started losing again. And John Malkovich, in my opinion, would take out Todd Blackledge too soon. When Todd Blackledge would start to slump, he would give him the hook quick and put in Bill Kenny. So there was never a time where Bill Kenny or Todd Blackledge got to grow because his leash was so short. But specifically to answer your question, Brian, yes, we were happy about Todd Blackledge at that time in 1983.
National champion from Penn State, right?
Yes.
They won the national title. And, Dan Marino kind of slipped down the way a little bit. You had Jim Kelly going through a similar situation, got drafted into the World League at the time, or the USFL. I'm sorry. Yeah. And
Dan Marino had some red flags too, as like a partier in college. And maybe took some substances here and there and marijuana. Some stories about that.
Oh my
God.
God.
Is using marijuana. I think we've heard some kids say they might have seen him use some marijuana. We can't take him.
But back in 1983, the Kansas City Kings were bigger than the Chiefs.
Right.
So it was a different era. So
Kings wasn't bad in '83 though.
No, I enjoyed Kings basketball. I miss them. I can't root for the Lakers because the Lakers are Kansas City's arch rival. So when you guys start praising the Lakers, I get kind of mad.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
okay. So my justification, and I will wear some Kansas City Kings gear. You can believe that. But my justification, I wasn't born no time when the Kings was here. I was born a few months after they left. I was born in August of '85, and they left like May of '85 or something. Yeah. So I as far as my existence in my world, the Kings never exist.
Yeah. Sadly, that is our lot. Us youngins. I'm almost 40. God, is that still going to be young at some point? Shane, just know we always have to keep you around, so we will all feel young.
I'll be 54 the 18th.
Ask yourself this: how old would you be if you didn't know your age?
Oh, 10.
8.
94 was my peak of existence.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get to what we
can do it.
Speaking of 10,
Trent McDuffie, round 1 versus Tyreek Hill.
Wow.
Knockout, first round.
Give me Tyreek.
You know what? It ain't even that, Shane. It was the 1-2 combo because Brian Cook, he was included. His pick was included in that trade too, I believe.
No.
So it was like,
no.
it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't.
That was our second rounder that we took, Brian Cook. Sky Moore was the second rounder from the Dolphins.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was Sky Moore. Regardless, you've crapped on the defensive backs too. So Brian Cook can get some shine. He was running like he stole something. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that. We've seen that.
The fastest chief all year.
Too familiar.
On Brian Cook.
But no, but here's the thing. You gotta in Veach we trust. In Veach we trust, fam. With Brian Cook, with Jalen Watson. I trust the whole team, bro. And okay, we trade a little bit of offense for some defense.
You're always talking about balance.
We have a dominant defense. We have a dominant defense. No,
I just want balance, Brian. You always talk about balance. I just want balance.
Here you go. We are Libra scaling you, baby. Okay, we are Libra scaling you right now because this defense ain't nothing to play around with. A lot of people were scared of this Dolphins offense, and they got a fluke touchdown in that game, by the way. Okay, when Patrick fumbled the ball and they got the ball inside the red zone immediately. Okay, so look, man, this defense has been spectacular all year. It's better than the Cowboys defense. It's better than the Eagles defense. It's better than the 49ers defense. You can talk to you blue in the face, but the Chiefs smothered the Dolphins the entire game. So look, man, a lot of that defense came from that trade and trusting Veach. You got to let the young guys swim. And them playing last year, I'm telling you, it helped out immensely with the bumps and bruises that we went through last year with the defensive backs, with the young guys struggling at times. But you saw they got it together towards the end. Man, it's paying off, and it's paying off in big dividends. And, man, it was poetic justice that out of all the guys on the team, Trent McDuffie got his fourth forced fumble in the league this year, and we ran it back for a touchdown. The first person who I text was Noah. I had to.
Although Brian, I will say this. I kept texting you, and you got quiet in the second half. I didn't hear back from you. The offense shut down and stalled and couldn't gain a yard, and I didn't hear back from you. I was worried about you. I called the police. They told me I had to wait 24 hours for a missing person report. I was worried.
I'm happy you mentioned the offense because we know that the defense dominated. They did their part. They're going to be tough to deal with the rest of the way. Like Patrick Mahomes said, the best defense that he's played with, probably the best defense in the league.
Although he lied to us, he said the offense was going to get better.
Yeah, and I trust him because I think this bye week is huge. It's going to help. And I really think that it comes down to a lot of penalties. Like the Chief offense has so many penalties that put them in a
the Dolphins were the penalized team on offense.
But the Chiefs are, I saw they're like top 5 or top 3 ranked when it comes to penalties
all year.
A lot of that comes on offense. And then a lot of that in the second half was just coaching. It was just terrible play calls. I don't know if it's Nagy. I don't know if it's Andy Reid. It was some bad play calls called. Like they're using Justin Watson in MVS more than any other receivers.
Right.
And those guys are the same guys to me. Like I don't. It doesn't make sense any to me. I like that they've risen the number of snaps for Rashee Rice, but I don't think that you can play MVS and Justin Watson together.
Right.
Like they can do the same routes, but they're going to have to decide who are our top 4 receivers that we're going to play. Rice should be one of them. McCoy should be one of them because he's a gadget guy. He can do that stuff in his speed. Then you can have either MVS or Justin Watson. Then you got to decide, are we going to play Sky Moore? Are we going to play Kadarius Toney? Because those guys, you can't use them as gadget guys. You have that guy. But when they can go out there and just play receiver, they can make some things happen. Like we saw Sky with the 2 first down catches in the first quarter or in the first half. We saw Kadarius catch a pass. But then you're looking at third downs and both of them on the sideline with Travis Kelce to where I don't know what the hell is going on. That's why I think it's a perfect time for this to be a bye for the team so that the coach can say, who can we trust? Pat, who do you trust? And let's go out there and try to put up some points offensively.
Speaking of Travis Kelce, he overtook Tony Gonzalez, only 14 yards receiving. But that was good enough to overtake Tony Gonzalez for number 1 all-time in Chiefs receiving yards. It's going between 2 tight ends because we don't do receivers here in Kansas City.
You mean former Atlanta Falcon tight end Tony Gonzalez?
No, he's a Chief, man. Don't do that.
Oh, I forgot about that. I couldn't remember. I
had to go to Photoshop to get that Chiefs jersey on him.
Right. I heard something different.
You know, fellas, that wasn't talked about enough for me. What Travis Kelce did. Because look, man, Tony Gonzalez for a number of years was a Chiefs' only weapon.
Yes.
And even in the years when Priest was pound for pound the best player in the league, Tony Gonzalez still held his own, and he was no, plan B to Priest Holmes. He was a part of that triangle. And so Tony Gonzalez, he had, like, if you reminisce on his career as a Chief, there was some mind-blowing stats that he did. Travis Kelce has already overtaken. It's mind-blowing in the fact that Travis Kelce has dominated himself to be the best tight end of all time. Like, and I don't feel any type of way saying, like, I truly believe, and it's factual. Like you can tell on tape, not only on tape, but his numbers as well speak to how great he's been, and he's still got plenty left in the tank. So there's no telling what other records he can get. Total touchdowns, receptions, he got a long way to go. So, but man, what Travis Kelce did was I don't know. It wasn't talked about enough for me. It wasn't appreciated enough because what Tony Gonzalez was
it's too early in the morning.
Oh yeah, it was.
And it was only 14
8:30.
yards, so just like barely got the record by 1 yard.
I never would have thought somebody would be better than Tony Gonzalez in a Chiefs uniform. I think that's the thing that sticks out to me the most. It's unthinkable. That's
I never thought
so many
somebody would
adjectives.
be worse than Sammy Parker, but here we are. So,
It's also true. That's called a give and take. And Noah, you were quick with that one, and you're correct. We have a couple Sammy Parkers, but Travis Kelce, guys, what more can you say about this player? And it was a weird game, to only have 14 yards in this game. The whole thing, Shane, I'm sensing some disturbing trends here. And I want to talk to you about just the second half. We saw this occur against the Chargers when the Chiefs built a lead, and I think only scored, minimally in the second half of that game, as the 9 points against the Denver Broncos. No points in the second half here, 14 in the first half. This is becoming a disturbing trend. Now, what we're finding is we have these arguments, defense, offense. To me, there's more than one way to skin a cat. This team goes and win at Super Bowl. Maybe this is the 2018 Patriots that goes and beats the Niners 13-3, like the Patriots did to the Rams that year. Maybe that's what this is, Shane, but I'm seeing some disturbing trends on this offense. And I think when Patrick Mahomes said that this is the best defense in the NFL, I think that what he was doing was challenging his offense to say, yeah, we have the best defense in the NFL. You guys want any of this? What do you think?
Let's hope. Mike Hill, I want to address what Mike Hill and what Brian said real quickly by answering your question, Clint. Brian said there's a lot more left in Travis Kelce. I hope so, because like me and Clint talked about with Lance Twidwell and Rich Baldinger on Kingdom Kickoff Sunday morning, it seems like Travis Kelce's going off the field on a lot of important plays. And what Mike Hill was saying, there's way too many third downs where Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, and Rashee Rice are standing on the sidelines with Travis Kelce, so putting out MVS, Justin Watson, Noah Gray. I don't like that. I don't like that because there's a problem here on offense that Andy Reid doesn't take the blame for. In years past, when the offense would struggle, answering your question now, Clint, in years past when the offense would struggle, it would be, what's wrong with Eric Bieniemy? I don't like Eric Bieniemy. I don't like Eric Bieniemy because nobody ever wanted to blame Andy Reid. But boy, if there was a creative play, everybody would say, "Oh boy, look at that Andy Reid pulled that one out. Andy Reid's such a genius." Well, now it's kind of fallen at Matt Nagy. Okay, Matt Nagy, why are these receivers? Why are there so many? Why is there this different wide receiver package that in different moments where you don't have any playmakers out on the field at all? Now, I know Sky Moore, he caught a couple of important passes Sunday. There needed to be more of that. We need whatever high upside of Sky Moore that we have. The only slant pass thrown all day Sunday was from Patrick Mahomes was to Kadarius Toney. He got 18 yards. It was great. Then Kadarius Toney's off the field. What did he have? 7 snaps?
I think 7, yeah.
Yeah, that was his only target.
Yeah, that was his only target. So we're in a situation now, And thank God that this bye week, because we got to step up. We got to step up this bye to work out this problem, because it is a problem. Like I said, nobody's going to blame Andy Reid. They're going to say, what's wrong with Matt Nagy? I don't like this. And against Vic Fangio's defense, Patrick Mahomes has always struggled when he was with Denver. Look at the games in 2020, 21, and 22. They were games in the fourth quarter. Even when Drew Lock was quarterback, it was nip and tuck and it was low scoring because of Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio had a great game plan, even though he was down 21-0. So I give Vic Fangio a lot of credit for that. But this near collapse falls at the feet of Andy Reid and his coaching staff with Matt Nagy, and most importantly, Dave Tobe. Dave Tobe has been on McCole Hardman's butt so much about not letting the punt go over him at the 10-yard line. He's now taking punts at the 5 in Denver and fumbling. He's now taking punts at the 1-yard line and starting that last drive the Chiefs had on offense down at the 10. Okay, that was a problem. That's one of them. Then with the game on the line, 2.5 minutes left in the game, it's 3rd and inches. You want to get this first down by running Pacheco and start making them use their timeouts. But instead, the most bonehead call I've seen ever in a situation like that, Patrick Mahomes looks left his whole way. He looks left his whole way. Kelsey's triple coverage. So he tries to hit Noah Gray on a fade out of bounds. And when Patrick Mahomes went like this and walked off the field and we had to punt, I went, oh crap.
Yeah.
The Dolphins
Okay,
I'm going to wrap it up, Brian. The Dolphins are going to go down here. Dolphins are going to go down the score and get 2 points, because I thought that was the most bonehead play. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, man. Let me have this dance, because clearly we miss Eric Bieniemy. That's the answer right there. It is the offensive coordinator. You can't tell me that Matt Nagy is on this team and he doesn't have any influence over the play calling or any influence over the game plan of what we do. And another thing I don't understand is the Chiefs be seeing these defenses on tape. You see them all the time. And I get, like, we had the best player in the game, Mahomes, but damn it, run the ball, bruh. God, like, I really want to curse right now. Like, and like,
we can't. My mom's watching.
Sorry, Mrs. Schweitzer, I do not want to disrespect you at all. But look,
She's
man,
not.
it's a certain attitude and it's a dedication you got to have to the run game. And here we are. We got like baby Marshawn Lynch. I think Chris Collinsworth compared him to Marshawn Lynch, and I can see it. The excitement, the explosiveness, the speed. He has it all, and we don't use him. We look at this right here. Look at this tape. I saw this earlier too. Look at come on, man.
It's like me in high school basketball class. I wasn't good at shooting, so I had to dive out of bounds and save a ball. That's how I guarded everyone right up next to him. They hated me.
We played on the same team one time. Remember that?
There's absolutely zero commitment to the run game, and it's annoying because it's there. It's annoying because it's there, and the defenses that they play are like it predicates on our passing game, and they're backing up and playing coverage for the most part. So when Andy Reid gets a 1-yard gain, or Pacheco gets stopped for maybe a 2-yard gain on second down or something, he'll just stop running the ball for a while, dog. Mm-hmm. And he's not using him. He's not using McKinnon in the flats. He's not using the screen game. Where is that at? I think those are more concerning to me than, or as concerning as the wide receivers not producing like they should be. Is, man, this offensive scheme and game plan, it is troublesome. That's the troublesome thing that I'm seeing is the game plan.
Yeah, and they have to figure it out, man, ASAP, because you don't want to waste this type of defense with an offense that's terrible, because it's too many chefs in the kitchen when it comes to receivers. Just pick your top guys, and then, like you said, you have to get the ball into the running back hand, and then hopefully we can see a little more of Noah Gray as well. It's like you thought that you will see more ways to make the game easier for Patrick, but it's kind of like they're out there just, hey, we got you. You figure it out. And I don't know if you guys are watching USC football, but they're doing the same exact thing with Caleb Williams, and it's so much tougher for him. And they're doing the same thing with Pat. Let him know which guys are going to be out there so he know who we can trust, who's going to get open, who's great at what these type of routes are, and give the ball to Pacheco, because the guy, even if he stopped for 2 or 3 yards in the fourth quarter, they're going to be feeling that on defense, and they're not going to want to tackle him late. So hopefully, man, they really take advantage.
And that's the dedication to the run game that I'm talking about, Michael. That right there. If you dedicate yourself to that run game, not only does it benefit Pacheco, not only does it hurt the defense, but it gets your O-line going too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this offense is struggling here. We have Chiefs have played 103 games with Patrick Mahomes. Among that sample today, ranked 101st in success rate. None of the Chiefs' 9 games so far rank in the top 50 for a Mahomes start. And then you've got Trey Wingo out here throwing blows. The Chiefs' offense is broken. They scored 14 points. The other came off a scoop and score. They've scored 24 points 6 times this season as opposed to 3 all of last season. Yet somehow they got into their bye as the number 1 seed in the AFC, and that somehow is this defense.
But the offense is down around the league too. Let's talk about that. We have not talked about how the defenses have caught up to the offenses this year.
Yep.
That's true.
Look, man, could it be some rule changes in the offseason? No. You okay? Let them ratings go down and see what happens. They're gonna adjust something. So that I'm concerned about that. But defenses are balling throughout the entire league. Scoring is down, yards are down. Hopefully viewership isn't down though.
No, it's not.
No, viewership going through the moon. 9.6 million viewers, most watched NFL Network international game. 94 share in Kansas City. 94% of TVs in use were tuned to Chiefs Dolphins. That is an insane number, maybe because it's early in the morning and none of the news stations have their good morning show on. So I guess I have to watch the Chiefs. That's what's on.
What were the other 6% doing? That's my question.
Yeah. Well, I just think that, Patrick Mahomes is Showtime. That's what they call him, Showtime. Everybody want to see this guy play. Then you got Tyreek on the other sideline who's been talking all off season that it was one of those games that everybody that I knew that are football fans that usually just watch their team if their plan was like, hey, yo, I'm going to be up early for this one. Because, a lot of people expected it to be like a 30-33 type of game. So it was such a surprise to see, a 21-14 game. It just let you know how good the defense is and just let you know that this offense needs some work. But the fact that the Chiefs are winning, at the end of the day, it's all about getting dubs. And the Chiefs are doing it 7-2 going into this bye week. It's just scary to the league. Like, if they do figure it out offensively, what the hell do we do against the Chiefs with that defense that's so scary? And Nick Bolton is going to be back later in the year. Like, it can be scary times, but it's going to be – this is the year that is truly Andy Reid. You have a chance to go back to back. If you can get to Matt Nagy, you can get to Patrick Mahomes and fix this offense because this defense looks like it's truly for real.
Yeah, Lance came in here. Lance is talking about how in 2021 the Chiefs are 3-4. Everybody thought Mahomes was broken, and I'll get to you, Brian, right after this.
Please, yes.
Yeah. And they turned it around, and he said it's not EB or Nagy. It's not EB being gone or Nagy being here. It's about no difference making wide receivers, which is I'm kind of on board with, but I do think we could use EB getting in that ass.
Oh, most certainly. But let's go back to 2021, Lance, when your so dear friend Tyreek Hill gave away 2 tip interceptions. One I know went for a touchdown against the Bills that sealed the deal on that game in 2021. So I'm not blaming EB for that.
The Chiefs would be 9-0 right now if not for these receivers giving 2 games away. But there's also that.
Wait,
but I agree with you that Tyreek did do.
Turnovers versus Denver wasn't all the receivers. It wasn't all the receivers.
Wasn't?
Not 5? Well, what do they call it? Was it 2?
More dropped. MVS
fumbled. Special teams. You had a special team. That's a special team.
That's McCole.
Receiver.
That's McCole.
Yeah. Guys, I'm glad Michael talked about being scared and some scary thoughts because there's something that's starting to creep up into me. I like spooky season. Halloween was last week. We wore our costumes. There's something that's starting to scare me just a little bit. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for all of you to get scared. Burrow and the Bengals are back from the dead after what was it, a 1-3 start?
Now they're 5-3.
Here they are, 5-3, and it's going to be a weird situation with the AFC North, considering right now every AFC North team is in the playoffs. I don't think that's going to stick. Noah and I talked before the show. Don't really think the Steelers, maybe not the Browns, are going to make it to the finish line here, but the Bengals are playing extremely well right now, and there you see the playoff picture. Here is the
That's a
Chiefs.
nice
That would
graphic.
be lovely.
Two
That would
seeds,
be
so.
lovely.
It's a nice graphic.
Yeah.
I don't-
But
So look, man, I told y'all, man, we not scared of no Dolphins, and you
Nope.
saw what happened. There's no reason to fear the Bengals. They need to handle business in their own division first before they see us. Are you serious? They gotta see Cleveland, they gotta see Baltimore, and they gotta see Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh ain't no easy win.
They
By
got
no means.
at
That is a
Jacksonville.
fist fight. That's a fist fight. So look, man, yeah, the Bengals do look better. They look okay. They look like themselves. I knew the Bengals were going to be good. I know you guys knew they were going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be trash forever. And clearly, that injury for Joe Burrow was an issue earlier in the season, and that's what held him down. But Jamar Chase now, he's got back issues. Not sure if he's going to play this week. But with that being said, look, man, they got to handle their own business first, because right now Baltimore is looking like the bullies in the AFC North, not the Bengals.
Do we believe in Baltimore? I've always just pushed them to the side and they're not a real team. Lamar Jackson can't make the throw in the critical moments, but I think finally I'm starting to believe in Baltimore. That defense, the run game, Gus Edwards, and I'm seeing Lamar Jackson make the throws I said he couldn't make in past years. I'm seeing him make them. So maybe I am a little nervous about the Ravens finally.
They destroyed two good teams. They destroyed Detroit and they destroyed the Seattle Seahawks. Both were, the Lions were in first place in the NFC North when they went in there and got destroyed. And the Seattle Seahawks, I think they were tied for first when they went in there just 2 days ago and they got destroyed. So they're winning convincingly at home, but they did lose an ugly game at Pittsburgh. Yes,
and Indianapolis. Oh, good Lord.
What the heck? Those two losses on the road were just like total head scratchers. We got one head scratching loss to Denver, and they got two embarrassing head scratching losses on the road to Indy and Pittsburgh. Okay, look, go ahead and read this, what Lance is saying, Noah.
Yeah, the 2023 offense will be struggling with the same issues had EB stayed for a sixth season. I love and respect what EB is and was as an offensive coordinator. He should be a head coach, but this is a Jimmy's and Joe's issue, not an X's and O's.
I think it's more complicated than that.
I do, too, but I think two things can be right too. I think it could be. It definitely is. The wide receivers, they're definitely an issue, Lance. I agree with you 100% with that. But man, the play calling is iffy, dog. Whenever on these third and shorts, it's 3rd and 1, and we play action pass or whatever, like just run the ball, fam. They had 2 down linemen.
Right.
On that play.
It was the Bengals AFC Championship game all over again.
Yeah, I put up these receiving stats. The left is their stats for the entire game. The right is just the second half. And you see, I guess you call it a fall off. Fall off might be too strong because they're pretty similar, but there is a little bit of a dip in the second half there. So
that is alarming and disturbing.
I was looking at how many targets these guys get. Like, it'd be different if Sky was going out there with 8 targets, 2 catches. Like, he's only
getting open to be targeted. Otherwise, Mahomes throws it out of bounds on 3rd down. We have to punt.
Yeah, but some of it, he's looking at Kelsey way too much to where it's like, man, you got to get off that guy. You know that what they're doing, they're doubling. But sometimes we've seen it, on the tape that there's guys open that he's just, some of it he's not finding because, like I said, that trust issue. Maybe he's not believing that they will make the play. But it comes out of coaching, putting them in positions to be successful. We saw Kadarius Toney play last year and be successful. Why aren't you putting them in the same type of positions? Like, it's like this year they're kind of like, hey, we're gonna have you do a little more of this. They were using Sky a little bit too much as a gadget guy, where in college he was never used as a gadget guy. He was a guy just line up, beat your guy out of the slot, go and make plays. We're gonna get the ball thrown your way. So I think that's what the coaches have to figure out. And just like Chris said, penalties have killed this team. I've seen so many holdings. I've seen so much that like it's just been really bad when it comes to the penalties, and that's always going to hurt you. So they just have to figure it out. Coaching has to be much better, and that's what's going to be the difference. But hey, the Bengals, we expect them to be great. I know they started slow. They got some great wins against the Niners, against Buffalo, Buffalo is kind of struggling, but they got to play the Texans, which is no pushover. And I want to give this guy a shout out because Clint Noel, we were at the draft, Brian. That guy that went number 2, man, CJ Stroud is a problem.
Man.
A LA kid
like
that can make all the throws. He is poised. He is tough. And that's not going to be an easy game for the Bengals this week. But I just had to give him a shout out because that guy is balling. I felt he should have went number 1 because of his size and things like that.
Agreed.
But, man, that guy is doing some great things. And looking at the Bengals schedule, like they got to go to the Ravens. They still play the Browns. They got to go to Jacksonville. This Texans game, like they're going to have to keep it up if they want to try to, match the Chiefs and possibly try to get home field advantage.
Yeah, and Lance is back here. He says, I agree that Indy is still calling the offense as if he has Tyreek. I would too, because I would be delusional and couldn't handle it. So I still have him out there. I see him out there. Or at least Juju, and they have neither. Veach didn't budge with the wide receiver room. Andy Reid has to call plays that play to the wide receiver strengths. And I think that's what kind of we've all been saying. But we've got to get to our midseason awards that we have here. We have a lot of them. And then we'll get out of here. I made these, Clint. I can't get out of here. I spent all day making these, so I'm sorry. You can make the face. We're going to go with, I made this, and it's kind of throwing it in my face. The old Southwest commercial, want to get away? Tyreek? He wanted to hop aboard a flight right then and there and get away, get out of there. Because
I think he tried to get back on the Chiefs team plane.
I would have let him on, but Brian closed the door before he could get on. So he's
sure did.
Peace. And Josh Allen, always a bridesmaid, never the bride. They're standing outside at Super Bowl 58, and he's not allowed in because he cannot win in the playoffs. Sorry, Josh.
Yeah, they just, I don't know what it is about them. They just look like a team. I'm trying to think NBA terms. They're like that old Sacramento team. Brian knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, the 2002.
Weber.
Yeah, the 2000
Queens. They got talent. If they can just get past this hump, man, maybe they can make a run, and they never did. So the Lakers and Spurs ran the West, and that's what it's like with Buffalo. I don't think they're ever going to get over the hump.
Thank you, Lance. Great show, fellas. Proud to be a part of the Starcade family. We're happy to have you. Thank you for joining us on pregame on Sunday.
Appreciate you, Lance.
Some more out loud. We could.
Yes. And what are we? 8 seconds. Everybody knows the Luke Perry film, 8 seconds, right? No? But anyway, the Jets season lasted 8 seconds. For number 8, Aaron Rodgers tore that Achilles 4 plays in. Oh, no, we suck again. Yes, you do. Getting killed by the Chargers. Come on, nobody can get killed by the Chargers.
Yeah,
that was pretty bad.
For the receivers, cry more, Chiefs wide receiving core. It is not looking pretty there. Hopefully they can get it figured out. Michael, you talk about the bye week. Brian, them getting things figured out, calling things that these guys do well. I'm not sure what those are, but they've got to be something. So hopefully they can get those figured out and call those.
Because the honest truth, Rice looks like the Juju. Like he looks like he fit that role, but they just don't give him enough targets.
Had like 17 yards. They definitely should have got him the ball more. I agree with you that Rice is the standout. I know he's a rookie, but they got to get him involved more. They got to get him more snaps. And here we got not Miracle on 34th Street as we're heading into the holiday season. Miracle on 8 Mile. Jared Goff out there in Detroit got the Lions atop the NFC North 6-2. Nobody would believe it. It is a miracle. And then the Niners have lost 3 straight. Fool's gold after that Cowboys game. Brock Purdy went from plus 2,000 to plus 700 in the MVP voting. And sorry, you've thrown 5 interceptions in 3 games and lost all 3. So,
hey, can I say this about Brock Purdy? And just the NFL period, there's a lot of guys that fits in this mold I call the Alex Smith quarterbacks, and he's like the head of that. And if everything isn't going right, he isn't going to win, and that's what we're starting to see.
I think I would put 2 in there.
Rex Ryan said he's the next Joe Montana. I've just got to go with that. I have one quick one from Jag to Dog. Let's give it to our own Justin Reed, guys.
Yes.
Okay. You want to talk about a player that's completely transformed from a year ago to now? You see the numbers there. He's got a tackle for loss. He's got 42 tackles, an interception, a forced fumble, and a sack up there. He has really also helped transform the mentality and become a leader for that young secondary. And you saw the physicality. He had the tweet. I don't think I have it up here where he had a photo of him blasting I think Jalen Waddle, and it said that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And Justin Reed, who was someone that I literally was like, he is just the most like nondescript NFL safety that you could ever sign, has really become a huge positive for this team. So There's my award from Jag the Dog.
You guys are going to hate this one. He only had 4 snaps in the game, but could it be potential Breland Speaks here for Felix?
Whoa.
Nah, man.
Oh,
Chill,
yeah,
chill,
baby.
bruh, chill.
Too
See, y'all
early.
like, look, man. Look, y'all like to hop on the young guys so early. It's in the middle of his rookie
Breland Speaks
season.
was gone after 1 season, so
I get that, but look, this is early in his rookie
Just
season.
having a little fun.
Number two, there's so much depth with this defensive line. He got to sit back and learn, man. It ain't no time for him to eat. You got Treshaun Wharton in there getting sacks. You got Mike Dana in there looking like almost an all-pro. Like, yeah, dog. Come on now.
Matt Dickerson. We all love Matt Dickerson, right?
He's looked good when he's been in the games.
Yeah, his snap count's gone way down. Of course it should. Like you said, Amenahu's back. The guys are eating up there. The receivers aren't eating, but the defensive line is eating with Chris Jones. Karlaftis is having a great sophomore season, and Mike Dana's really strong this year. So, and then our last award, we've already talked about Burrow and the Bengals back from the dead, but our last one, this one involves our friend B. Shinen here. And that goes for the Raiders and Chargers celebrating after their wins in New York. This is our B. Shinen. That's cute award.
Yeah. And that's exactly how you look at these fools celebrating these low quality wins. Look at these bums, especially this bum on the right. He's a very, very talented, good bum, and I mean bum in the most respectful way. I know Max Crosby is a dog. Let's be clear, he's a dog. But look, man, this is bum behavior from bum teams that we're going to continue to dominate, man. The AFC West is ours forever.
Hey,
I like the tats. I like you and Max have similar tats there. I see.
Nah, man, he got Raiders tats, man.
Oh yeah, he does.
Well, are we back next week? Or are we gonna just come back?
We're back. We got to get ready for the Eagles, baby.
Okay,
yeah, gotta be ready for Monday night, baby.
He said if we was gonna take a break, it was gonna be this week.
We took no such a break, as you've all seen. And look at
everybody came with their backpacks on, so no break for us.
Oh boy, did they! And thanks to Richmond Webb for bringing the backpack and bringing it good for the first half of the show. The back half, some good stellar conversation between the allies and some of our great viewers here. Thanks for that.
I took it on the chin, but I'm all right. I'm still standing.
Hey,
a little wobbly, but I'm standing.
Hey, Noah, don't feel bad. I'm eating crow too. I had the Chiefs losing 44-17.
We were going to bring that up.
My piece of crow is probably bigger than yours, but I don't know. You've been pretty hyped on Tyreek, so me and Noah.
Hold on, wasn't I the only one who said the Chiefs was going to win?
Yeah, you
were.
Right.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
A round of applause. Yeah.
In Beach, we trust.
I only did it because I can't pick the Chiefs
position.
to win every game, so that's why I said, maybe.
I'm Lynn Dawson with it. I'm Lynn Dawson on Inside the NFL. I'm picking the Chiefs. I'm picking the 1998 Chiefs, and we went 7-9 that year.
And why not? If you do it now, you're only going to be wrong 3 or 4 times a year tops. So might as well.
So until next week, everybody, this has been Arrowhead Allies. We are looking forward to next week where Brian picks the Chiefs in a massive victory over the Eagles. But let's get things figured out on the offensive side for this bye week and go Chiefs!